Hey guys, what's going on? Chris Arangio here for JR Cigars. I want to do a fun little video with you today where we're going to kind of dive in a little bit to my personal humidor. I brought it in today and I just want to show some cigars in here that I've either been gifted or I've had the good fortune of getting them from manufacturers, and some of these are exclusives. They're not even sold online, but I definitely wanted to just share with you some of my favorite cigars in this humidor. All right, the first one is probably my favorite one. It is the Joe Rogan Experience from Foundation Cigars. If you're kind of new to the story or the the rumblings of how this came to be, Joe Rogan on his podcast, The Podfather, I feel like every time I would watch an episode, he's smoking a Foundation cigar, drinking some Buffalo Trace, and Nick Melillo got wind of it and started sending Joe the El Owense and some other lines from Foundation until Nick Melillo himself made a Joe Rogan cigar. I don't know, the specs are kind of kept top secret online. I don't know, like I said, I don't think you can find this anywhere online. But I think it's pretty cool that Nick made Joe a cigar after Joe was pretty much raving about the Foundation portfolio on his podcast, which is one of the biggest podcasts out there. So I'm not going to light this up. I think the only way I would ever light this up is if Nick Melillo goes on the Joe Rogan podcast, which is probably, I would put money on it that would be an over 4-hour podcast, because Nick loves to talk. From what I see with Joe Rogan's podcast, he loves to talk, and they're just going to smoke cigars and just have a great time. So the day Nick Melillo goes on the podcast is the day I'm going to light this one up. The next cigar that is pretty interesting and I find special to me is the Don Rogers cigar. My niece went to the DR over the past summer and got me a 5-pack of these, and I was just kind of taken aback that she even thought about doing that for me. I never heard of Don Rogers before she gave me this cigar, and I've smoked a few of them out of that 5-pack, and I think it's absolutely delicious. It's kind of like the first time I've smoked a Cuban cigar where it just was different. It tasted different. It was, I guess it was humidified differently. It felt different while I was smoking it. And I don't know, I think it's just pretty special. It's nice, every time you're gifted cigars and you kind of keep it. So the Don Roger is, if you haven't tried that cigar, I would definitely check it out, because it's a really, really delicious Dominican Republic cigar. Now, you've heard me talk about this cigar before on here. This is the Liga Privada number 9. What makes this specific one in my humidor special is I got this one at my very first Barn Smoker by Drew Estate back in 2021. They give everyone a bag full of cigars, swag, hats, to kind of travel humidors, but they gifted us the Liga Privada number 9. I've had this cigar before, but I'm kind of holding on to this one because it was the first time. It was one of my very first events. I got to meet Jonathan Drew there. Got to interview him, which seems like it's a rarity because he's so busy. But yeah, the Liga Privada number 9 is a really special cigar, and the story behind this specific one, I'm gonna definitely cherish forever, because it was, like I said, it was one of my first events. And it was a lot of fun that day. So, all right, next up is another cigar from a manufacturer I met around 2021, 2022. It all blurs together now, baby brain. But it's the Wabash Cannonball from Crown Heads. This was a Casa de Monte Cristo exclusive, and John Uber made this basically to pay homage to an old roller coaster at a theme park in Nashville back in the 70s. He gifted my former boss and I a box of these when we went down there, which I thought was pretty cool. So we split the box. So I have a few of these left in my personal humidor. This is absolutely delicious. I don't know if you can get this anywhere online. I've seen it. I've seen, posts about it online, but I'm not sure who's selling it. I think it's very limited edition. It was for Casa de Monte Cristo a few years ago. But it just it falls under that Crown Heads umbrella of, crafting a cigar that pays homage to either some of John's favorite musicians or Nashville, Tennessee, much like the Mother Church that pays homage to the Ryman Auditorium. This pays homage to one of the older roller coasters in Tennessee that was apparently so batshit crazy and wild that they had to make a cigar about it. So yeah, that's another special one of mine too in my humidor. All right, these next two were gifted to me for my birthday last year from Nick Libretti. Yeah, I don't know if you guys remember him, the guy who used to do videos for like 10 years here. But he gifted me, he was too generous. I don't know why he did this. He gifted me two different Opus X's. This is the Lost City, the Lost City blend. I've never had this one before. I don't, for the ones who've smoked Opuses out there, like, do you really ever want to smoke it? Because it's just so like rare and it is expensive. I'm not going to lie. So I was really taken aback by Nick gifting me 4 or 5 Opus X's. I don't know if he just had 1,000 of them in his stash. He's like, here you go. Or if he went out and bought them for me. But the first Opus X I ever smoked was with him before I was going on paternity leave with my first kid. And I thought that was really special. That cigar was great. But I've heard nothing but phenomenal things about the Lost City, or the Lost City. So I don't know. Maybe I'll light this up in honor for his birthday, which is a little bit later this year. Maybe we'll get together and smoke this. But yeah, this Opus X the Lost City is, I think it kind of adds some status to my humidor, adds a little, bravado, moxie, I guess, if you want to say that I'm not messing around. I brought this into work today and a few people were like, oh, quite the collection. So if it makes me look cool, shit, I'll bring it in every day, I guess. And then the last, Arturo Fuente Destino Biglio. I definitely butchered that, but it has the Opus X logo on it. I don't know much about this cigar. I did Google it and I looked up the price of it and I was like, whoa mama, I could probably get like another PS5 if I sold this on eBay or on a cigar market. But no, this one, like I said, it's similar to the other Opus X. Nick gifted this to me with a nice kind of cigar carrying case, a lighter and a cutter for my birthday last year. And I thought that was really special. So kind of hold these two near and dear to my heart because it was such a nice gesture. All right, guys, thank you for going on this journey with me through my personal humidor. It was a pain in the butt to bring it in. Not really. You see the cool stickers. I don't know where the Nicolas Cage one is. Bam, right there. But no, I hope you enjoyed this dive into my personal humidor. We'll start doing more videos like this where, we can bring in some special cigars. I have cigar posters, ashtrays, lighters, cutters. It really is awesome when you get to go to these events or when you are working in the industry and what you can collect. Thank you guys for watching. We appreciate it. And until next time.